All right. Today we are going to do some more discussion with decimal division, and today specifically we're going to talk about decimal division using methods similar to long division. I know long division is our favorite division method, but it does work, and it uses the fact-family relationship between multiplication and division, and basically uses that relationship between multiplication and division to help us divide, and is a very long way of dividing, but we also will get the right answer. So we're going to go through that today in a couple of different ways. I'll go through a couple of long division problems without decimals, and then use the same numbers with decimals to show you how the long division method applies to decimals. Please remember from yesterday we did do, we did move decimals out of the division by multiplying by a power of 10. So that's going to come back into play again today. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first we're going to take 286 and divide it by 572, which is a division problem of a smaller number divided by a larger number. Obviously, we are going to get a decimal answer or a fractional answer. We'll have a quotient that is smaller than either number that we are dividing. The first thing we're going to have to do, since 572 is larger than 286, is we're going to have to add a decimal and a 0 so that we can make the number larger, and we're going to bring up the decimal straight up so that it's into our answer, and then we're just going to ignore it. And the reason we do that is so that we have a decimal place in our answer into our quotient already. And now we're going to divide 2,860 by 572. And since 500 times 4 is 2,000, 500 times 5 would be 2,500. I'm going to estimate that this is going to be about 5 times. So 5 times 572 should be about 2,860. You're going to have to use your best judgment, because obviously 572 is a really large number. It's an estimation, but you should be able to use your best judgment and make a close estimation. So let's see how close we are. 5 times 2 is 10. So we'll write the 1. We're going to carry our 1 up here. So 5 times 7 is 35, plus the 1 we carried. That would make it 36. We'll write the 6, carry our 3 over. So 5 times 5 is 25, plus the 3 that we carried over from earlier. That would make it 28. So 2,860, we subtract it, we get 0. So the answer to this problem right here is 0.5. So 286 is half of 572, or 286 divided by 572 is 0.5, or 5/10. All right, the next problem we're going to look at is going to be 301 divided by 7. So the first thing we're going to do, just to remind you, is 7 going into 3, which we can't do, so we go over, put the 3 with the 0, make it 30. 3 can go into 30. It can go into 34 times. 4 times 7 is 28. We write the 28 below here. Okay, 28 minus, or 30 minus 28 is 2. Bring down the 1. Make it 21. 7 can divide this remainder of 21 3 times. We write the 3 up there at the top into our quotient. Okay, and 3 times 7 is 21. We subtract. We get a remainder of 0. We're done. 7 times 43 is 301. We're done. Our quotient is 43. Our answer is 43. All right, the next problem, is 3,294 divided by 732. All right. Again, this is a larger problem. We're going to start by simply looking at the fact that we have a number in the hundreds and a number in the thousands that we are dividing. So we're going to start by going over to the hundreds place, which would be a number that would be 329 divided by 732, which obviously we can't do. So we're going to take the number in the thousands. So I know through estimation that 700 times 4 would be about 2,800, or close to 2,800. It would be 2,800. Sorry, it wouldn't be close to it. It would be 2,800. So that 732 would be above 2,800. So I'm going to say that 732 times 4 is going to give me an answer close to 3,294. And probably I'm going to have to add a decimal and a 0 to finish this problem, but it's definitely going to go in there 4 times. So 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, and then 4 times 3 is 12, so we'll put the 2 next to it, carry the 1. Oh, whoops, carry the 1 there. 4 times 7, we don't need that one. 4 times 2, or 4 times 7 is 28, plus 1 is 29. So we put the 29 in there. All right, so 2,928. Now we subtract. 4 minus 8 we can't do, so we have to borrow and regroup. Okay, so 14 minus 8 is 6. Again, just like when you were learning how to do this back in elementary school, let's do it one step at a time to make sure that we are following along. 6, 8 minus 2 is 6. Okay, 2 minus 9 we can't do, so we're going to have to borrow a group from the 3, which makes it a 2, gives us a 0 here. Whoops, makes that a 0. 12 minus 9 is 3. Okay, so we have a remainder of 366. So in order to finish this problem, we are going to have to add a decimal and a 0. So let's bring it down. Let's bring the decimal straight up. And now 3,660. Okay, this number 4 times 732 was 2,928. Let's go ahead and see if 5 times 732 will give us a number close to 3,660. Okay, so 5 times 2 is 10. Write your 0, carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Carry the 1. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 1 is 36. All right, we subtract, we get 0, so our answer is 4.5, or 4 5/10. All right. All right, now what we're going to do is we are going to divide the same 3 problems using decimals. Okay, and we are going to simply remove the decimal from the divisor. Okay, and by doing so, we are going to be rewriting these problems and thus getting the same answer that we had up above, only this time it's going to be right there. So first things first, we've got 2. We don't want any decimal place out here in this number. It makes it confusing. It's okay if we've got a decimal here because we can bring it up into our quotient. So we've got 2 decimal places here, which means we need to be multiplying this number. We've got 2 decimal places. That's 100th. We're going to multiply this by 2. So we move it over 2 places. So that should be 572 out here. And whatever we do to one, we have to do the other. Law of equality in math states that. So we're going to move it out 2 places here. So 1, 2 places. So 1, 2 places, which means we have to add a 0 here. So that would give us 2,860. Now, if we do the math, 5,732 102 into 2,860, we know from earlier computation that we should have a 5 out here. So 5 times 2 is 10. Then we do carry the 1, 35 plus the 1 is 36, carry the 3, 25 plus 3 is 28. Subtract, we get 0, so the answer is 5. All right, same thing out here. All right, we've got a 7/10 going into 30 and 1/10. Again, we have one decimal place here, so we remove the decimal place. We want to move it over one place, so we move this over one place. Where we're going to rewrite the problem is 7 and 301. Each only had one place. We don't have to add the 0 this time. And again, it goes in there 4 times. 4 times 7 was 28. Subtract. You get 2 left over. Bring down your 1. 7 times 3 is 21. Write your 3. Subtract to get 0. And our answer is 43. All right, last one. 732 thousandths going into 332 and 94 hundredths. All right, this one is unique. We have 3 decimal places. It's a thousandth. So we are multiplying this by 1,000. So 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So 732 is going to be our divisor now. Okay, so that means on the inside here, 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So we're going to have to add a 0, put our decimal out here. So that means our new number on the inside is 32,940, where this is a comma, not a decimal. All right, matter of fact, if you wanted to change that up a little bit, we can actually get rid of that and say we don't even need to write the comma, okay, because on my screen it looked kind of like a decimal. So 32,940. All right, so earlier we found out that it should go into 3,294 4 times, and that would give us 2,928. Okay, this is why I'm using the same numbers. Okay, and that through subtraction and borrowing, we would get 366 left over. Bring down the 0, and we get a 5 up here. 5 times 732 is 3,660. Subtract it, you get zeros. All right, so our answer is 45. The important thing is that in order to divide decimals, you have to remove the decimal from the divisor. Okay, we have to remove the decimal from the divisor. If we remove the decimal from the divisor, we can divide it long division. So the number of places that that decimal is holding in our divisor is the number of decimals that we have to remove it in our dividend as well. In A, we moved it over 2 places, so we have to move it over 2 places within the dividend. In B, we moved it over 1 in each number. In C, we had to move it over 3. Okay, go back and rewatch it as many times as needed to understand what's going on here. If you have any questions, feel free to email. Be ready to discuss tomorrow.